Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Rose Society, a game of swashbuckling action, suspicious, suspenseful intrigue, and more action and corsets than you would ever imagine to be likely, all set in the world of 7th Sea. My name is Dan McCurdy. You can find me at RevDMC247 on TikTok, and I will be your storyteller this evening, and I will allow my players to introduce themselves, starting with Nikaletta.
Hello, everybody. I am Just Kelsey. You can find me at FarmGrowNerd on TikTok, Instagram. If you're so inclined, I'm on X. I'll warn you, I'm there maybe once every 8 months, and I am playing Nikaletta Richter this evening.
And hi, everyone. I am Eric Bell, but you guys can most call me Bell Comedy is my handle. I am a stand-up comedian out in the West Coast. So if you're ever in Las Vegas or wanting to see me headline at anime conventions, that's where you can find me. I will be playing Demetrius Penn, little swashbuckling mercenary who's bad at everything. So bring on down to Mouse.
Hi, I am Rage Mouse on the things, and I play a very unusual, stuck-up rich girl. She likes to play with sharp objects. She is Verity, Laurys, Victoire-Couteau, and she is here for a good time, but maybe not a long time.
Hello, I'm Abby. You can find me on TikTok as Dat Bardic Charm. Excuse me. And I will be playing the Inishmore soldier, Alastriona Toran.
And so let's get started. Cold wind blows in from over the bay, carrying the smell of salt from the foam of the waves and lofting it over the buildings of Carleon, capital of Avalon in the Glamour Isles. In the streets, commoners walking about doing whatever business had brought them outside, huddled for warmth, searching for whatever shelter from that wind that they could find that would allow them to continue whatever it was had them outside in the first place, scurrying from point to point like mice in a massive warren. The light of a dozen or so candles flickered as that wind blew through the opened window into an otherwise darkened bedroom. Normally this time of year, it would be entirely too cold outside to leave windows open this way, but the somewhat strenuous activity taking place inside assured that the wind that so chilled those outside would be more than welcome to those who were within. Over by the bed, a soft giggle escapes into the room from under the bed sheets, and a young woman, blonde, about 23 years of age, stretches sensuously before rolling over onto her side to look at the gentleman sitting on the bed next to her, slowly putting his pants on. Demetrius, would you please give us a quick description of what you look like?
Yes. Demetrius Penn, he's about 5'9", caramel skin, fairly toned individual. As he puts on fairly fine leather clothes with a pistol that well maintenance, taken care of, and blade to his side, always with a general smile and charm, as every conversation, every opportunity to Demetrius Penn has with anybody is going to be a chance for him to charm and delight. And this is another. That must be a Tuesday, I suppose.
The young woman, who you vaguely remember to be named Christina, gives you a long look as you find
Christina, yes.
Demetrius, darling, are you certain you must leave? The night is still young.
Yes, my love. I am a better man for the night I have spent with you, but I must go. I have many what do I normally say here? I have many places to go. Unfortunately, I do have a job. I actually should be doing my due diligence as the greatest god that anyone could truly have, as Demetrius Penn is many things, mercenary and confidant, and obviously the accompaniment of beautiful women like yourself. But I must go. Please do not. No.
And as you are saying all this, all of a sudden there comes a heavy blow to the door.
That is why I wrap it up quicker.
Oi,
that is why.
Christina, why is this door locked? Who are you in there with? Christina looks to you, her eyes suddenly wide with surprise and perhaps a bit of sheepishness. It's my husband, Sylvester. This was the first word that you had that she was married.
Yes. first time I am hearing of Sylvester, but frankly, this is quite a common occurrence for me. So, if you will please excuse me, does Sylvester have a coat in the bedroom?
There are actually a number of coats and things like that in the bedroom that you can grab for if you're looking at.
What is the nicest? I look for the nicest one that one that like he's ignored clearly, like one that hasn't been worn for a while. So, but like is really the one that's most colorful, ostentatious. My love, I'm certain he does not really care for this. I'm just going to take that off. It's very cold, you understand. And I believe my coat is somewhere in the dining hall. You are very adventurous, but it's been a pleasure. And I just slide a chair under the doorknob to give me the general couple seconds that I'll probably need. And
okay, so so you're sliding things around. You pull like kind of a used cloak. It's actually pretty nice as you put it on. It's got kind of red satin with a fur lining, but it doesn't look like it's been used much lately. And that is the moment when the door takes another heavy hit and another. How precisely are you getting out? You are on the second story, but as previously mentioned, the window is open.
Of course. Well, Demetrius Penn will always risk death to get away from the inevitable beating. So I will just I will open up the window, and I will prepare to kind of guesstimate how horrible of a landing this will be. And
it's second story, so it probably won't kill you, but it might hurt.
Yes, of course. Then I wait for the door to bang open just so you can see my face. And
fantastic. Okay. So, as the door finally bursts open, Sylvester steps in and he just glares at you, and his eyes go wide with fury. He says, "It is you, Demetrius Penn, rogue of the bedroom, thief of virtue, seducer of women."
So you should be very understanding. Who could resist? And frankly, take it as a compliment. Probably the most excitement she's had in quite a while. And I jump out the window, and but it is Demetrius Penn, of course. I don't just scurry away like some heap of trash. I'm gonna put a little bit of panache in this, as your coat is quite lovely, and I make sure it flares out as I spin around to try to do a little bit of parkour, hop off, but with a little bit of a finesse that slides right into the snow, and kind of give a little nod to anyone who is still running inside for the code.
All right.
So that's how I'm going to attempt to stick the landing.
I'm going to need you to make a finesse and athletics roll.
Okay.
There are 3 risks of minor wounds on this particular jump. So you need 1 raise in order to succeed, and then any additional will reduce the risks.
Demetrius Penn is full of finesse, but not very athletic. So that is 4 in finesse and 1 in athletics. So I'm rolling 5.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to try to talk me into another skill other than and don't forget 1 additional for flair.
1 additional for flair. You know what? My perform and my athletics are kind of the same, but I will say an aim, and this just so aim is more in regards to pistols and whatnot.
Yeah. Aim is when you. Yeah. I mean, unless you were like saying that you're trying to hit
hold on. What if
snowdrift or something?
Let me paint a scene for you to see if
go right ahead.
So Demetrius Penn, he jumps out the window to give a little bit of flurry and finesse as he sprawls around, and he uses his blade to kind of stamp into a good spot into the side of the home to kind of stop the landing. So maybe using a level of skill of his weaponry to kind of use things to brace in this moment.
Okay, I will give you weaponry. However, I will add an additional risk of losing whatever blade you're doing as it gets lodged in the house as you go down.
To be fair, the blade is probably from the last room I was in. So it's good to reuse these moments. It leaves a phenomenal story trail. Okay,
It's like paying it forward with stolen things from various seductions.
So that is 4 in finesse, and that's 3 in weaponry. And if I'm reading this right, I get to re-roll
You will
single
get to reroll
die.
die because of your 3 in weaponry. And again, don't forget the 1 die because it's the first time you're using this combo in this scene. You add a die for flair.
So 4 in finesse, 3 in weaponry, and an additional 1 for flair. All right.
4 risks, 3 of wounds, 1 of losing the blade you're holding.
Alrighty, and I believe it's increments of 10 that we're going for.
You need to build 10s to get a raise.
Okay, this is actually a really good roll. I'm not. But by the way, anybody who's watching, and I really hope you stick around for the fullness of the story. Do not get this roll. Don't give false. I have played a lot of tabletop. I don't roll well, so just get that. Just precursor. Spoiler alert: he sucks. So this is not a good. This is a good start, but it's not gonna last.
It's not gonna keep going that way.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let's see. 10. American education. Alrighty. 5. Right now I'm at 5. I got a lot of 9s and 8s in here. So
with 5 raises, you already have it. Are there any extras?
I gotta do a little bit of math. So okay, let me just do it. 10, 20, 31, 38.
And remember, it's dice that can build a 10. You don't get change.
I gotcha. 46, 55, 63. So 6 raises.
All right. So, you manage. It is perfect. It is like you go out, you perfectly put in the dagger as you slide down, make a perfect landing. And if you wish to use one of the leftover raises that you have to edit the scene in some way to your character's benefit, you absolutely may.
Oh, there's, of course, he doesn't just land in an empty street. This is like everyone's rushing into the code, and everyone's like, oh, just get, and then all of a sudden, Demetrius Penn falls from the sky like an angel in the night, or a thief in the evening bed. So, hello. Your eyes do not deceive you. Demetrius Penn is here, and enjoy your night. I know she did. And then I run off.
Absolutely excellent. So the husband runs up to the door, pistol out, ready to fire after you, but as the crowd is sort of cheering around you, he's unable to really draw a bead, and you make your way off to the night. As you get clear, you walk for a bit among the streets, and finally come to the Siren's Kiss, the inn/tavern where you and your companions have been staying. You look around for your young charge, eager to tell her about the night's exploits, when you realize she isn't there. Meanwhile, outside of the Siren's Kiss, the harsh wind from the bay continues blowing over the streets, slowly guided up a gentle grade from the docks district into a, it must be said, much nicer section of town. Here coats are thicker, and many travel by coach or wagon, and the scurrying takes on a much more dignified air, though the cold cannot be escaped completely. Surrounded by respectable places of business and houses of increasing value, one building stands apart somewhat from the others, a chapel in service to the veneration of the prophets in the stylings of the Objectionist faith. This chapel, dedicated apparently to a scholar named Drury Lacar, stands open as always to those who seek solace for a moment of prayer, with the flickering candles inside offering peace and perhaps even absolution to those who seek it. Just inside the sanctuary, however, there was a second door, easy to miss if you didn't know where it was, which led to stairs that would take one underground into a small series of catacombs. Tunnels that turned and twisted and even delved ever lower into the subterranean depths underneath the Capitol. Walking these rough-hewn tunnels, lit only by the candle in her hand that she had snatched from the votives upstairs, a young woman of Eisner descent walks. Nikaletta, if you would please describe yourself.
Nikaletta Richter stands about 5'5", 5'6", not tall, not short, just a normal size, a good normal size. She has a very, very fine, however, very, very plain, very unadorned, dark forest green coat, long blonde hair that she usually keeps. I'm not going to keep doing the accent the whole time. That she keeps in a big poofy Dutch braid for the most part. When it's not done like that, it's in any kind of array of direction. She doesn't usually pay too terribly much attention to it. She's busy focusing on whatever she's studying at the time. She has a small-ish mask. It looks similar to a plague doctor's mask, but slightly longer and more wide. It has a white ivory color to it, pretty gold piping around the outside of it, and a bag that always seems to have some kind of either squish or crunch to it at her side.
Excellent. Now, you had honestly just meant to go for a walk while Demetrius was doing, well, what Demetrius does. Sure, you weren't supposed to go out without protection, but you are a perfectly competent human being on the streets of one of the most secure cities in all of Thea. You were going to be fine. You just stopped in the chapel to get out of the wind for a moment, and perhaps the Objectionist chapel made you feel a little homesick. But then you saw the door, the stairs, and now here you are, walking through the darkened tunnels of the catacombs. As you move along, you come to a passage that opens into a large, well-lit chamber. A chimney of sorts above you funnels warm air up and out of this room, keeping it relatively chilled, and inside you see a number of cadavers in various stages of embalming. This, of course, is of interest to Nikaletta. What does she do?
Jackpot! And starts pulling out her tools. She'll hustle over, kind of like pulls out a scalpel, a small tube, a small tube, and a piece of pre-folded linen paper. And she starts just getting nail scrapings, little sections of skin. Never too much, not taking too much. People notice too much.
All right, as you move among the bodies, how does Nikaletta work? It's rare that she gets an opportunity to work like this with this kind of privacy and stuff like that. So what is she like when she's able to work unobserved?
She has this set. Actually, you know what? I grabbed those. Where did I put them? Aha! She pulls out a set of glasses that she keeps tucked in her bag. And as soon as she gets them on, gets them out, they sit at the end of her nose, and she just very lightly and very gently, her arms and her hands seeming to kind of just hone in on the nature of the task itself and slowing down to the point where she's not ripping or tearing or really disrespecting these bodies in any way, shape, or form, just being as gentle as she can while still gathering what she needs and trying to be respectful, not taking bits from anything. She takes the skin from between the fingers. She plucks the pinky nail off. She sits there and goes, I'm very, very sorry about this. But we all have our own individual practices, and she's talking to the cadavers as she's working.
Mm-hmm. And as you're picking around and working on the cadavers, there is a good variety of cadavers here. You get the impression that this is sort of a holding area in preparation for various funerals. And it seems like many people from many walks of life. Or is there any kind of preference that you have? Or do you try to get a variety from everyone that seems to be around?
She tries to get a variety, because from the dust we are born, and from the dust we shall return. Because whatever we are in life does not ever seem to matter when we are dead.
All right, very Eisner approach as you just go through picking away. This isn't even going to be a roll for you. There isn't really much risk as you just are able to replenish some of the supplies that you are always having to get together for your experiments. Now, as you finish up and you start to move to the door, you hear voices from the tunnels.
Shit.
And with the way the catacombs are set out, the voices seem to be scattered. You're not entirely sure what direction they're coming from.
Shit! She's just kind of muttering it to herself constantly as she tries to poke her head down different hallways to see if she can determine where there's an echo coming from.
Mm-hmm. All right, so sure. Go ahead and give me a wits and notice. I'm going to put in 3 risks on this one. Each risk that you manage to eliminate eliminates 1 wrong answer.
Okay. Do I get any flair on this?
Oh yeah, it's your first roll of literally the campaign. Yes, you get flair.
I just wasn't sure because there's no one really here to see any flair. Ah, crap, where'd it go? Why? Oh god, okay.
That's rarely a good sign when the player rolls and then yells that.
4 races.
Oh yeah. You come out and you are pretty sure that the voices are in fact coming from the opposite direction of the stairs.
She'll turn around very quickly. Now, thank you very much for your cooperation. I appreciate it. I don't suppose you could do me a favor and dead men tell no tales, yeah? Guten Tag. Walks off.
So are you walking away from the voices and going to get out?
Yes.
All right. You are making your way up, and you get out of the catacomb area. You're walking back up to the main stairs, and as you go to open the door, you hear some voices on the other side of the door. They're probably close to some of the votive candles, and so if you were to open this door now, they would probably see you. Are you going to try to wait it out, or just walk out like you've always been there, or what's your approach?
She's going to wait it out and see where they're going and what they're doing.
All right. You can hear a number of voices speaking. And you would guess probably about 3 young men from what you've gleaned from your time in Avalon so far. They don't sound particularly high society. They've got the thicker accents going on from folks. They're in the ways and they're talking about, all right, now what the hell are you up to? We get a good pull this time or not? Well, I think we're doing all right. Just wait for the priest to go back in the confessional over there, and we'll head down and meet up with the others, all right?
Oh, that's fine. She walks out the door.
Okay. You walk out the door, and 3 young men look over at you.
Hello. Working. Have a good evening.
What were you doing down there?
What are you doing down here?
We're not. We're up here.
So who are the friends you were going to speak to?
They all kind of glance at each other, and then one of them says,
You wait for the priest to leave, yeah?
grab her quietly.
Oh, stop it.
And 2 of them start walking towards you. What are you doing?
Go fuck yourself. Starts backing up.
Backing up, is she trying to leave the chapel? Is she going closer to where the priests are? Like,
I was minding my business. I was planning for you
catacombs?
to mind your business. And she's just backing up, it's like just trying to talk her way out of the situation. She's like, no. I said you go on about your day. I'm gonna go on about mine.
You back up, you hit a wall. And they are still coming towards you.
I wonder how good these walls echo. Do you think they would hear a scream?
They look back and forth. Are you gonna scream?
Are you going to leave me alone?
No.
Ah! She screams.
All right, let's go panache perform.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, is this let everyone know I'm in trouble, or is she actually afraid?
No, this is let everybody know. She's as loud as possible. She's like, I don't really care. I just don't feel like dealing with you myself. So if I can get somebody else to come help me, I'm going to.
All right.
That's what I get for that. 1 raise.
1 raise. So you scream. The priest looks up. The guys are kind of looking back and forth like they really weren't expecting that. And as the priest comes over, just yelling at them like, you ruffians, you need to get out of here. And they're like, listen, the cultured men have plenty of right to be here. And all this conversation is just shooting back and forth. At the moment, no one's looking at you.
Guten Tag. Leaves.
And you slip right out. You slip out, back out onto the streets, and you're able to arrive back at the Siren's Kiss just around the time it looks like Demetrius might have been about to turn around and come looking for you, wearing, it has to be said, a pretty nice cloak that you've never seen him in possession of before.
Did the husband catch you this time?
Is it really capture when it's more of a dramatic exit?
That's a yes.
Yes, almost immediately. They're getting faster.
You seem to have gotten away with a much nicer coat this time, so congratulations.
Oh, it's so nice. Look at this.
It is very fine. We'll have to take care of this one.
Yes. I promise I will not leave it this time. Where were you?
Minding my business. Why are you always so worried? A woman can't take a walk?
What's in the bag?
It's the same dirt that you complained about me carrying all the time?
Yes, it just seems that every single time you wander off, the bag seems to gain heft.
This does not gain that much heft. I did not take that much, did I? No, I did not take that much. I like my dirt. My dirt is very interesting to me. You know me.
Yes, dirt leaves that specific smell. Of course, but hey, I do not I am not, but perhaps some roses or lovely perfumes that you would like to sample just to...
Well, yes, I understand, but do you know what makes those things grow? Fertilizer.
Yes, very practical.
The fertilizer stinks. I'm sorry.
Would you like to drink?
Meanwhile, the cold wind from the bay pushes further and further up the roads, and the buildings like houses start giving way to things that would be more called manors. The coats get even thicker, and many walk the streets with a sense of purpose, unbothered by anything so insignificant as to one of their station as the weather. There are others, of course, those with thinner coats and more purpose, the servants of the various households, who scurry as much as their brethren at the docks, but they move with a purpose both to get where they need to go and to stay out of the way and notice of the nobles that they scurry alongside. One servant in particular makes a move to run up a path to the side entrance of a particularly well-lit home known to the locals as Evermorning Manor, where all of the workers are in a particular frenzy. The lord of the house, Engelbert Evermorning, is putting on a ball with a number of guests, and there is a great deal for the servants to do. As they dash and move through the halls of the house like a maze, primarily to carry out their various tasks without disturbing the more regal atmosphere of the grand ballroom, in one side room, a small cask of ale and some refreshments have been placed to allow the servants to get some refreshment between their tasks, and in this room stands a woman from Inishmore, welcome among the servants, many of whom are also from Inishmore, though not one of them. Alastriona, would you please describe yourself?
Here we go. Absolutely. Alastriona is roughly, looks about late 20s. She is 5'4" and very muscular built, around 165. She has dark red, wavy hair that hits at her shoulders, and she has an undercut. When her hair is up, there's an outline of a feather shaved into the right side of her head. She has hazel eyes and freckles lining her nose, her cheeks, and going all the way up into her forehead, almost like a perfect contour kind of going on. She likes to wear clothes in, kind of greens and tans and neutral colors, not very fancy or outlandish. She's a simple girl with simple needs.
All right. Alastriona is not one of the servants, but she is here for work, meant as a bodyguard for one of the noble guests in particular. However, the safekeeping of this particular noble was complicated for a number of reasons. Learning that she intended to attend the banquet, you found it easy to insinuate yourself in with others from Inishmore and gain access through the side. Now, having a shared drink with the one who welcomed you in, it's time for you to see that the area is secure and you are able to step out into the manor. This is going to be a social encounter where you move your way through the manor based on one die roll. So what is going to be your approach as you are scouting out the manor, and how do you look for potential danger that you might find for your employer in this manor?
She wants to look as... She's going to try to look as unassuming as possible. There's a lot of other Inishmore people there, so she's going to try and more blend in with them and keep an eye on things from the outskirts rather than get up in people's faces what are you doing?
Okay. So this to me feels a bit like either finesse or panache and hide or empathy. If you want to try to talk me into a particular combination, I'm willing to hear it.
I am more than okay with a finesse and hide, if that is okay with you.
Go right ahead. This is you just trying generally not to be noticed and see what you can see without directly interacting with what's going on around you.
Exactly.
And this is not a risk per se. These are the raises that you will have to spend as you navigate these.
That is 2 raises.
Okay. With 2 raises, you begin moving your way through the manor. It's a little bit weird. You're still not very used to the Avalon style of building, and so you frequently find yourself in a situation where you kind of would like to fade into a shadow, and you find yourself in an irritatingly well-lit hallway as you're sort of moving through. But there is business and stuff going everywhere, and servants always gossip. In particular, you see one group of servants that seems a little bit, how should we say, like a little bit put off by something that seems to be happening in the building. But when you get close, they notice you, do not recognize you, and kind of give you sort of a suspicious look. Would you like to spend one of your raises to approach them from a different angle so they don't hear you coming and you get to listen in on their conversation?
They've already noticed me?
They have seen you at this point, but it's like a warren in here. So coming around from another side and maybe not being noticed that time might work.
I think I'd rather hold on to my raises for another time. She'll just keep going, and if they want to approach and talk to her, fine.
Okay, so you move past them and you come up into an area near the Grand Hall. You definitely do not have the clothes to go unnoticed in there. Someone's going to ask you where you belong and what you're doing there. And so as you're kind of holding back, you see, and this is where the traffic of the servants is at its heaviest. People are bringing refreshments in. People are carrying used dishes and glasses out. And there's also servants who are not of the household, but who are working for their various lords and ladies, trying to find whatever they want to find. Moving throughout. There's not a whole lot of gossip among the servants here. Anything in particular you want to try to do in this area?
I think she just kind of, like, can she just safely assume, like, at the moment there's not necessarily, like, a threat or danger, or are we still, like, sussing that out?
You're still kind of sussing that out. There's clearly no overt danger. Like, the manor is not under attack, but you didn't think it would be. This is, you're more trying to figure out if there are threats, they're hidden, where might they be hiding, that sort of thing.
Okay. She's gonna find a spot to sort of, like, just sort of hunker in. Like, it's busy, she doesn't want to get in the way and cause an issue, because that's just gonna be more conspicuous and stuff. So she's gonna, like, just go off to the side, find a spot where she can kind of hear most of what's going on and just see what she comes upon. What she can hear, what she can see.
Give me a raise to make sure you're well hidden.
There you go.
Okay. You find a rare, good little, like, nook. A place, basically it seems like it's designed for someone to get in, like if there's a big trolley of goods coming down the way and you were going the other way, away make room, and in there you were able to kind of step out of the way. And as the servants are moving around past you in all directions, suddenly you hear a couple of them kind of whispering and nattering to each other about how there are people here who shouldn't be. They're acting like hired hands. They're mostly working out in the stables at the moment, but apparently they were hired by a Lord Coughlin in order to protect him in case any duelists interfere in what is going on this evening. This is of particular interest to you, considering your employer.
She would actually go over and kind of approach the people who are talking about that, and just she needs to know more about what they're talking about.
Okay. You walk up to them and they all kind of turn and look at you in surprise. Terribly sorry. Is there something you need?
I couldn't help but overhear that you were talking about some people who shouldn't be here. We're worried about some duelists. Is there something that people should be aware of?
It's dumb. It's one of those local gangs, the men of culture. They take protection money sometimes, and they're around to protect one of the lords. He's been causing some trouble, and it could potentially... They're there to run interference if he gets challenged so he can get away, and they're just around, and they took money to work, but they're not really working, and they just look rough, you know? Like, if they get irritated, they might beat someone up and take their money or something.
So some bullies just kind of sitting around waiting for a fight.
Yeah. Why do you seem excited by that?
Do I seem excited? I don't mean to seem excited about that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, must have gotten the wrong impression.
Oh, my apologies. Don't mean to alarm. I'm just trying to make sure I understand what's going on around here.
And one of the others is like, it's because she's from Inishmore. She's always excited at the idea of a fight. We all are, all the time.
So you get it.
He gives you a look and goes, you want to maybe go smash their heads and just make sure the night stays quiet, handle it out in the stables so the lords don't get all in a tuff.
Now, would that not cause a kerfuffle in and of itself?
They tend not to mind so long as they don't have to see it.
You should just kind of sit there and ponder and smirk. Well, you did caught me being excited about to fight. And she'll wink and head on out.
So is she leaving or is she going to let's handle it? Is she heading to the stables?
Yeah, she's gonna go to the stables.
Alright. So going to the stables, he's actually walking alongside you. Aiden, by the way.
Alastriona.
So, what are you thinking? Blades or just handle it with fists and see if they're smart enough to just get their lumps and go down?
Maybe we start off just at least showing off our swords. See if that just gets them afeared enough that they just run off with their tail between their legs.
Fair enough. And he grabs a decorative sword off the wall as he's walking down. There's no way this thing is even sharp, but he's just kind of carrying it as he moves along. I've been taking orders from Avalonian nobles all night. I really need to punch something.
Well then, aren't we lucky?
And he leads you out, and you come out into the stable area. There are a lot of horses here. Some were ridden in individually, others were bringing in various carriages and stuff like that. And there are, you'd say, probably 10 sort of rough-looking individuals, all kind of hanging around, clearly not working. There are a number of actual stable hands, very overwhelmed, because this was the sort of thing where they would need help, and the help is not working. And so you're able to walk out, and he smiles, and he goes, you take the lead, I'll follow yours.
Hey. And so she'll just kind of, she'll just very confidently walk up to the fellows who just seem out of place. And, you're not doing jack shit. You're not of any help here.
Yeah, look up to you. Well, lass, we help you.
I don't know, can ya? Doesn't look like you're much of help at all out here.
We're here, we're working, don't you worry about it. Get whatever horse or ass you're here for and get on out.
I'm here for your ass. Oh, like kind of fiddling with her sword.
He kind of glances at the blade. You want to do this with blades? And they all stand up and kind of put hands on daggers standing around. There's just the two of you. Take it easy on yourself. You don't want to mess with the metaculture.
Are you saying you're the man of culture? Don't look very cultured to me.
I see you're new in town. You'll learn soon enough.
Not much I need to be learning right now. Why don't you just go on ahead and get out of here? We don't need to be causing any trouble.
Alright, go ahead. Give me a wits and convince.
Right.
For every success, one of the men of culture will take you at your word and leave.
While she's saying this, she's just also kind of her sword is out and she's just kind of making figure eights with it.
All right, so make that panache and intimidate then.
Oh, never mind. I'm cool. I mean, I'm fine with that. Oh no, that's a worse roll. Can I go back? Can I put it back?
Yes, you can stay with your first if you want to keep your first.
Never mind. We're not intimidating. Not yet. And that's 3 raises.
3 raises. Okay. 3 of them kind of look at you and look around and go like, we've already been clocked. It's more trouble than we need anyway. Plus, Coughlin hasn't paid us in a while, and 3 of them walk out. The other 7, however, I did say there were 10, right? They rush forward.
No.
We are now in a combat situation. The social situation is over. Once the knives are pulled and the fists start flying, that social situation is done. That last raise of yours is gone. But now, how are you approaching this particular attack? And Aiden rushes up beside you to be of aid. So.
Okay. So she is going to. She's going to be using. She's going to be using 2 one-handed weapons.
Okay.
So can I use my fencer bonus with that?
Absolutely.
Alright, so I got that. She's gonna have 2 one-handed weapons, and she's going to just kind of be almost like dancing around, like trying to go 2 at a time. Whoever comes at her, like each of them get a sword. She's trying to use as much of her skills with like weaponry and her training in the army to just kind of handle 2 at a time. We're trying to stick with 2 at a time, but more show over.
All right, finesse and weaponry then.
Right. Do I get a flare with this since it's the first?
You absolutely get to add a die for flair. This is your first time using this roll in this scene.
Excellent.
Flair is a dynamic to encourage people to use different skill combos.
All right, that is 4 raises.
4 raises. All right. You are able to take 4 of these louts out as you are just coming at them with your dual blades. Describe what that looks like. Go as extra. Make this your how do you want to do it, like as you're going.
Oh, how do I make this extra? Okay. So she's not going to run at them. She's going to let them come to her. And as like at least a couple of them start making their way, she's going to be drawing out her swords and do a kind of like a spinning motion and take both of them out at the knees so they just fall when she's done spinning.
He's cutting ligaments here. All right.
Look, you saw I had the swords. I'm going to use the swords. I'm a woman of my word.
All right, so you are able to move around and cutting things. 4 of them go down. Meanwhile, Aiden rushes in just with his fists, not even caring that they are using daggers and other such things. And he, on 4 dice, he got 3 raises, and so he drops another 3 of them as he is just going around throwing wild haymakers and taking people down. There is only one member of this brute squad left, and he is going to take his swing at you, Alastriona. So you will take 1 minor wound as he comes in. He's not actually hitting you; it's just kind of indicating you're spending a little bit of energy to avoid getting a blade in your gut. So you take your first minor wound.
I only took 1.
Just the 1.
Just the 1. Okay.
Just only 1 is left to give 1.
Okay.
And this back to the top, he then looks around and notices that everyone else is down. And looks at the 2 of you. Fucking Inish. And he just... You haven't heard the last of this. And he shoves his dagger into its scabbard and makes a dash for the streets. Do you let him go, or do you...
Yep.
Make a response. You let him go? Okay.
I'm gonna let him go, but I am gonna yell out, "You wish you were fucked by the Inish."
And remembering that, he zips out. Meanwhile, in the grand ballroom of Evermorning Manor, many of the local gentry of Carleon move with ease around the party, all eager to both see and be seen in the constant Brownian motion that is the politics of the Glamour Isles. Queen Elaine herself is not here, but Evermoni's The Evermornys not quite possessing enough clout to demand her attendance, but many from her court are, and they listen and watch and whisper as the game of nobles whirls around them. Periodically, as new guests arrive, the herald will take his stand and declare them to the room, and he prepares to do so now, glancing down at a sheet of paper that has been pressed into his hand by a particularly harried-looking servant. My lords, ladies, and all in attendance, may I announce Miss Verity Laurys Victoire-Couteau, daughter of the Honorable Curious Victoire-Couteau of Montaigne, granddaughter of the hero of the Aberdeen Fields, and duelist of the School of Ambrosia. Verity, would you please describe what the attendees see as you step out onto the floor?
Don't mind if I do. Verity is in a double-lapelled blue velvet skirted jacket. It is embellished with like really gaudy double-breasted buttons, and it peaks that the skirt would open to trousers. Scandalous. And she has like very decorative white boots at the bottom of the skirt line that have like a gold trim of the sole. So like as she's stepping, there's a flash of gold as she comes to each step.
Very Montagnian.
Oh, and her hair is pulled back in a snood, one of the decorative nets.
Fantastic. The announcement of Verity sets the room all abuzz. It had been long enough since the war that Montagnans were once again more or less welcome socially to such affairs, especially those of sufficient birth, but her announcement as not only a duelist, but one of the infamous Ambrosia School, known for training both duelists and courtesans alike, ensures that many present make a point of noting the newcomer. But Verity, you are not here to be seen, neither are you here to party. You are here on a contract.
I'm here.
One lord in attendance, Sir Eric Coughlin, from the county of Leeds, has had a mark on him for quite some time. The reason for the duel is not particularly your concern. He gave some offense in a party not unlike this one, apparently in the form of taking an unwelcome kiss from a woman who did not appreciate it, and the contract was placed on him. Ambrosia House, having very specific thoughts about such behavior, readily took the contract. What is particular is how this contract has been somewhat difficult to carry out. Several duelists have attempted to give the challenge, but all have returned unsuccessful, as multiple times the duelists found themselves set upon by a local gang of ruffians. While the duelists were always able to avoid any great injury, Sir Eric had repeatedly escaped during the scuffle. When you were in town, however, you learned of this particular soiree and knew that, unlike other Ambrosia duelists in town at the moment, that you were of high enough birth to secure an invitation. Figuring that he would be hesitant to use his street toughs in front of such esteemed company, you took the contract, and now here you are, and you were able to spot Sir Eric upon entering. What do you do?
Well, I would definitely bask in the extra couple of Mississippis of everyone turning their attention to me. And then and then I would actually
gorgeous.
I would intentionally like do an exaggeration of a slow gaze sweeping over the room as if I don't see him or know where he is already. And then I would like fall on him when I knew he would be making eye contact with me, and I'll give him just the sweetest little smile of like, oh, what a charming looking man. Feigns interest.
He looks at you a little bit surprised, and now it's just been announced to the room who you are. And so he's looking at you and glancing around. People are watching, because if there is an Ambrosia duelist in the room, people always expect something scandalous is about to happen. It could be bloody, it could be sexy, who knows? It could be both. And so folks are watching, and he feels this expectation to kind of live up to that and have a sense of, oh, how's it going? It's set there. But he's very often he's like, Madame?
Monsieur, that is a very fine frock.
Yes. And he glances at the duelist pin on your outfit and he goes, are you here on business?
Oh, that all depends, honestly. I don't like to get blood on people's carpets, so, you know.
even so, and he kind of glances around, distances himself from you, and is like, I'm not going to wait for your guild to do whatever it is they're up to. And he whistles. And it's clear he has some idea that this whistle will have an effect of some kind. Like, maybe a bunch of ruffians will jump into the way. And the door from the servants' quarters does open. But instead of a gang of ruffians, in walks Alastriona, looking rather pleased with herself. And she gives you a nod. What?
Did you just summon her? How did you do that?
Where are the... Fine, if it's to be a challenge, then it'll be a challenge, and he'll pull out his rapier. And challenges at this sort of thing in Montaigne, they happen all the time. In Avalon, it's a little bit more rare, but even so, people know what to do, and they all kind of move out to the side. What does Verity do as it's clear, now that steel has been drawn?
As soon as he admits that he's going to engage in combat, she's just like all too excited, and she had already, like, even before he started agreeing, as soon as she lays eyes on Alastriona, she'd just be like unbuttoning the first button of the jacket, going about the other inner button, and then by the time he's like finally been like, oh, well, fine, she'll just have like dropped the jacket and be clearly fully dressed for a duel, just in a nice leather bodice set, and she's got her sword at, and she's just like, all right. And again, the boots are the whole outfit.
As you announce your boots, and as you start unbuttoning the jacket, by the way, there's several murmurs of approval from gentlemen. When it comes back and there's just a dueling outfit underneath, there's a little bit of disappointment, but in general, folks are down for a fight either way, and you move in. Would you please give me either your brawn or finesse and weaponry, and we will begin the duel. All right. So with your 5 raises, and he rolled not that many, the two of you slowly go around. At 5 raises, it is your action. What do you do?
Let's see. Let's... gonna bash.
All right. With a bash, you deal 1 wound to him. You just come in and you move, and you just give him the blunt end of your sword to the head. Basically, you don't cause a wound. This like most duels tends to be to first blood. You don't need to kill him in this particular endeavor, but he's not bleeding, but he is a little bit out of it, a little loosey-goosey. So it is still your turn. He also did not have 4 raises. You have access to all of your moves, but you can't use the same move twice in a row.
Correct. Yeah. Then I'm going to faint.
You fall to the ground, seemingly asleep. No. You deal another wound to him, and not. And again, these are minor wounds. You're not actually hitting him, but you do a little move to the side. He kind of tries to follow it, but you are back. You're already pretty certain you are a much better duelist than this man. There is a reason this guy hired other people to get him out of the duel. And on 3 raises, he finally gets to do a thing. He moves forward at you, and he's just a simple man. He is simply going to attempt to slash at you with his weaponry skill. He would do 2 minor wounds to you. That gets reduced to 1 by your previous feint, and it is again your turn.
And on this turn, I get to do an additional wound.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you hit him with this time will do an additional wound because of the bash.
All right, so she's going to slash.
All right.
And that's
what
a
is your
4.
weapon skill? with a 4. You move in, and
I think that's right. Hold on. 3. Sorry.
3. He swings out his sword desperately to try to keep you at bay. It simply doesn't work, though. And you come in, and you are able to draw a line with the tip of your blade across his shoulder blades, cutting open his jacket and his shirt and leaving a very elegant bloody line across the front of his chest, winning the duel. All around, people are applauding and cheering. Quite a few of the men, no few of the women, looking in, just trying to see. And he just looks back as drips like red pearls come down from the cut that you place upon him. And as he stares at the blood dripping from the wound, defeated, and the crowd is coming closer, they're trying to congratulate you as winner of the duel, when, unexpected, he pulls a pistol from behind under his jacket, from his belt, bringing it around, yelling, "You Montagnian bitch!" What he did not realize, however, was that Alastriona, who had walked in, was actually there with you. Alastriona, would you like to interfere in any way?
100%.
What are you doing?
She would, how quickly would she have realized what he's doing?
Like, people in front of him, like, it would have taken Verity a moment to realize what was happening, but you would very quickly see the back of the jacket go up, see the pistol there, see his hand go for it, kind of cocking as he pulls out. You have plenty of reaction time.
Okay, the moment that she sees that he's going for some kind of pistol, she has gotten out her own sword to move up to him and put it underneath his chin. I'd rethink that if I were you.
Fine, he yells.
Drop it.
He lets go, and his hands go up in the air. And looking around, this is highly dishonorable. And
Incredibly shameful to fight with you, sir. In fact, I would not recommend it to even my worst enemy.
And there are just oohs and people and just all sorts of shame, Avalonian shame, just pouring down on him, and he just glares around and runs out the door. An event that is, you are sure, going to be full of the local rumor mills for a long time. Finally, with the business of the night concluded, you two return. Well, do you stick around for the party and see what fun there is to be had there, or are you going to call it an early evening? This isn't really your jam. How do you two finish out this part of the evening?
When he's like made his exit and everybody's sort of stopped expecting more to the show, she would grab Alastriona and be like, "I heard that there are chocolate-shaped teddy bears on small tiny cakes. We have to find one. I love chocolate."
I think we earned one.
You're able to go around and you are able to find a rather large number of treats. Lord Evernorny, as you're doing this, comes over and congratulates the victor of the evening and her Madame Victoire-Couteau, just absolutely top-notch dueling. And you are, and he looks at Alastriona a little confused. Guardswoman? Woman at arms? As if he's reaching for what her title might be.
I don't know, dear. Do you like to be more of an infamous mercenary, or are you wanting to be more of like my woman's woman, as there is a man's man? What is your preference?
I wouldn't call me a mercenary. Woman's woman, bodyguard. Something along those lines, I suppose.
In either case, whatever the case may be, fantastic dueling. Will you be staying the evening and celebrating with us? I see you.
She's gonna like take a moment to take his phrasing and just like stay the evening. Are you saying that there are rooms available here in the manor house?
He kind of looks at us like, yes, quite a large number of them, in point of fact.
And you would be willing to extend an invitation to me and my traveling party?
I think we have room for that. And he kind of glances around looking for folks. Wait, your traveling party?
Oh yes, well I have my woman's woman, and she would say it very like, now that is a thing, and gestures to Alastriona, and she's like, and then I am also traveling with the heir to what's the barony?
Von Richter.
Von Richter, the barony of Von Richter, Lady Nikaletta, and of course she has a bodyguard. You know, ladies of our age and titlesome, we have to be safe. I mean, I know I am a duelist, but of course I am still genteel.
I see. I'm almost offended she didn't come to the party in the first place. Well, certainly. For entertainment such as this, people will be talking about this for a great long time. Yes, absolutely. Where are your companions currently staying?
Well, we were staying in one of the humble taverns at the edge of the town. You know, everyone is in town for all of this celebratory and honorary nonsense, but of course I wouldn't have made a fuss. I'm not the type. We're very simple and honorable ladies.
Well, of course. I will have a carriage sent straight away to fetch them. Do you remember the name of the tavern? And it is the Siren's Kiss. It's up to you whether or not you remember that, though.
It's the Smoochy Mermaid. No, and she'd look over at last one. What was it? It was the
Siren's
thirsty,
Kiss.
the thirsty fish.
The Siren's Kiss. Just
Yes, the wet woman Smoochy. Yes.
He's like, absolutely. I'll have a carriage sent down there. I'll send word to the stables. We've got plenty of people working there tonight, so it shouldn't be a problem for them to send someone extra and just sort of handle this. So, of course, and a carriage is sent to the Siren's Kiss, and stepping out of it, a gentleman comes up and walks in and is like, I am looking for a Nikaletta von Richter and a Demetrius Penn.
Does he look like a cop?
He is very well dressed.
Okay.
There is some authority in the way he holds himself, and he
Okay. Okay. Usually, when they're looking for the both of us, is better.
This is true, but we still don't know who he is. Who are you?
Oh, I work for Lord Evermorny. You and your traveling party have been invited to stay in the manor at the request of Miss Verity Laurys Victoire-Couteau.
She kicked someone else's ass. Come on, let's go find out the story.
Grab stuff, a little giddy. And
Demetrius is like, yes, I love feather beds.
oh, this is nice. And he looks as I pass by, look the guy up and down, look at his boots. Are you married?
Not presently, no.
Nice boots.
She
Wink at him and then get back in the carriage.
Give me a panache and tempt.
Okay.
You're insatiable. Did you not just leave a woman?
I believe that is
No one likes a tattletale, Nikaletta.
Nikaletta, don't you know what time it is?
I believe it is, yes. It's a thick 30. Yes, yes. Oh, that was not a great roll. 6. Just 2 raises.
He looks at you a little intrigued and is like, I suppose I could say I am married to my work.
Delightful for you. And like, there's better options.
Yeah. I get you in. And the carriage
How uncompelling. Bye.
makes its way up to the manor house. And you all arrive in a very nice party where everything is all astir and a buzz following various events. The most obvious story, the biggest one, is, of course, a duel that took place. And there's various versions of the story that you can hear from all sorts of quarters. But there are a few other tales as well. Apparently, someone in the poorer section of town was seen very gallantly leaping from a window, sliding down the wall with a blade, and announcing himself clearly to everyone, after having this also shouted out by the man, as the great Demetrius Penn, who was described as a thief of virtue and things like that. The name was very clearly enunciated on multiple occasions, and so everyone is really clear on what the name is. And there is also a tale of a ghost being spotted in the catacombs underneath one of the objectionist chapels in town, and any of a number of other stories. And people are just sort of moving around the party. The main festivities of the night have come to a hold, and you all are able to find a space relatively private to yourselves over by a fireplace in one of the nicer living room den areas in the manor, no longer in the great hall. Heroes, you take a seat at the table that has been around for you. There's some drinks, there's some food available. What do you talk about?
Oh, lovely. Another serving of peace water.
Anything interesting happened tonight?
Nothing out of the ordinary. I did this job. We can collect that money later. I get more infamy. I think, and she'd look over at Alastriona, I think you did something because he made that horrible noise and then you appeared, and I think he meant for someone else to appear. What did you do?
Alastriona is sitting with her feet on the table because she is not prim and proper. And she's just leaning back with a beer in hand. Well, there's this guy who apparently hired some guys, and they weren't really helpful. Apparently there was going to be some sort of ambush with them, some dueling, so I went and I took care of them. Took care of 4 of them myself. There was about 10. There's this Aiden guy who helped me, and he took care of 3, and then 3 ran off because they're fucking pussies. And then we fought them. I took care of 4, Aiden took care of 3, and 1 ran off so he could tell the tale.
Demetrius feels so just shameful. How much more badass their stories are. To be fair, the last establishment we were in, my story would have been very impressive for that crowd. We'll just say I jumped out a window and I have a nice new coat.
Your story is very impressive either way.
It is a very fine coat. I don't think that they make that sort of fabric anymore. I think there was a fire. That's very fine. And she's looking at it with respect, but there's also this hint of don't be surprised when it disappears.
It will be mine.
It was very stylish in Montaigne 4 years ago.
I don't know. For me, I feel like she would watch Demetrius hearing Alastriona's story, and he's just you can see it as the numbers go, and he's 4. Yeah, I could do that. I feel like, and then she's well, actually 10, and he's oh, good God. And she's just
You two sound as if you had a very busy afternoon.
I wouldn't say busy. Have you had the chocolate teddy bears?
Chocolate? What is this chocolate?
It's this strange patisserie item that they like to put in certain sweets. It's very rare, but I like this area because they like to import through here.
Sugar. What is with this sugar and sweets? Yeah.
Oh no, I think they use honey around here. The Avalonian, they very much love the apiary thing.
Sugar.
As you are all gathered around and talking, a servant walks into the room and looks at all of you. He's like, this is, I'm sorry, I'm looking for Demetrius Penn and his companions.
How old is the
This is a younger man. You'd guess probably 16, 17.
We're good. All right. Yeah. If you're a assassin or going to punch me, can we? My night is. I'm really at the end here.
No. Terribly sorry. I just I'm bringing a message that was sent for you.
Let's have it.
To
And so
him? Specifically to him? She's gonna be like looking at her other friends and like, that's kind of unusual.
People love Demetrius Penn. You know they.
He pulls it out. It says, I am lettered, ma'am. And it says Demetrius Penn and Company.
We are not calling ourselves that.
I think it has a wondrous sound to it. It's beware, Demetrius Penn and Company. All right.
No, I am not and Company. If anything, it would be Verity, Laurys, and Nikaletta von Richter and Company.
Serena, see how they treat us.
They? What is this they?
You started the day.
The servant, deciding that this is over his pay grade, just kind of quietly comes out and walks away.
But before you go, Demetrius Penn and Company, does it have a good ring? Does it stoke fear? Right.
Could I have had Nikaletta snatch whatever the message was from him?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
Fear, is that what you try and instill? That's not what I hear.
Exactly.
The invitation, it is an invitation that you see, and it is actually very beautifully arranged. Very expensive paper. Clearly a lot of energy was put into preparing this and making it look beautiful. There is roses, a rose motif filling the whole thing. And you see that it is an invitation to the house of Lady Rylan. Not actually a manor like this, but a famous and somewhat exclusive brothel in town that requires an invitation for entry. Very well known. And it's weird to get invites there. It tends to be, you know, someone who knows someone and eventually come in. So getting an invite actually carries a fair amount of prestige. It's not like, oh, the whorehouse wants us there. This is a place of art and music.
Demetrius, exactly who have you been messing about with here lately?
There could be a variety of
The invitation is for the following morning.
Okay. Possibly a great invitation to a good job, or
It's a breakfast.
or it's a trap and people will murder me. I am unsure on which way it will go.
You know, Verity, if you hadn't said this, I probably wouldn't have, but Nikaletta actually is going to sniff and be like, I'm sorry, what? Just sniffs the paper. Does it smell like perfume, or is there some kind of any
It
weird
smells
tinge?
it smells like roses.
Okay.
Like
Very snooty.
like essence of rose was put in.
It's very snooty. It's my father's
Also,
taste.
you know that essence of rose tends not to last very long. So probably whoever prepared this really knew what they were doing. You probably have a skilled chemist on your hands.
She'll pass the invitation around to everybody else to have a look at. I would recommend that we go ahead and see exactly what it is about. I mean, it's not sort of invitations that one sends out, what is the word, willy-nilly.
Would Verity, when she gets the invitation, would she, after the number of invitations of different bougie degrees, would she be able to tell anything of note about whoever sent it or whoever's handwriting it is?
Well, actually, you do recognize the signature. Which, as this note is being passed around, Alastriona, you've never heard of this person before, but both Demetrius and Verity have heard of Bianca Ricci. Demetrius, to you, Bianca Ricci was actually a former friend / lover, depended on the day, who you knew in your days when you were working for the merchant prince Vigo Espathia. Upon seeing the name, Verity, you recognize it as she was a former student at Ambrosia House who had been quite well liked. She did not graduate from either school within Ambrosia because she left about halfway through her studies, having been seduced by the son of one of the merchant princes. Up to you how particularly close you might have been to her. She was more on the courtesan side of things, so you might not be more than just aware. Bianca Ricci is the name.
Well, I do not know if she is married yet, and she'd be saying that with some side eye at Demetrius. But I am familiar with the signee here. She is beautiful. Do you know her? And she would say the name, pointing at it, and then she would just be like, I wouldn't exactly expect her to go out of her way to invite you to something like this, to kill you, if that makes you feel better.
Demetrius, you ended things with Bianca on a pretty positive note. She was not married when you knew her. She was basically a kept woman for the son of one of the merchant princes, who had many such kept women, and so there was not a lot of expectation of being unique to him or anything like that. And so, as far as you know, there's no beef there.
Yes. I still though. We were very amicable when I last saw her. I believe she was a friend when I left. But people tend to want to kill me, so it's a very odd well to walk. But if you will all accompany me, I would be grateful.
So you are not eager to rekindle whatever friendship you had?
No. I am.
Is it because you had to walk out the door and not jump out the window?
Yeah.
Oh, amicable breakups are so boring. You must be attracted to stealing jackets and stabbing walls.
Firstly, the stabbing of the wall was quite but perhaps
Actually, Demetrius, you do have a souvenir from your time with Bianca. What would that be?
Castration.
I
think we all know that's not it.
That is so cruel. So cruel. Why would you wish such horrible things upon me?
Glitter.
That would be my we'll say it will be my pistol.
Okay. Very, very nice, very well inlaid. Very well and played. From
Bang bang.
And a gift from her, something to remember her by. And it's one of the better pistols you've had.
I showed the pistol and it was a gift. So I am actually quite capable of having poignant friendships with women.
Or she just wants your pistol. And she'd say it exactly.
Hopefully.
Well, that sounds like a promising invitation in that case. Very friendly. Yeah?
Yeah, we should still probably be wary. I've had a charmed life before I became your bodyguard.
Charmed. You mean okay. Sorry, you got me.
I am feeling quite attacked in this entire conversation.
Yes, Demetrius, we all know you're very charming. Yes, we know. We don't worry about it. But are we going to the breakfast? Yes.
Yes, of course.
Well, then let's go get free breakfast. What's wrong with free breakfast?
There's also another moment I jumped out the window during breakfast. It was just, I've had a lot of moments.
Moments of your own creation.
Look, I got us very nice bedrooms for the night. You can suffer through a few hours of whatever your ex-girlfriend wants from you.
Of course. So it'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong?
She tried to like bait him maybe with being like, don't worry, I will protect you.
And then I feel much better. And I am going to go to bed fearing so much for my life. It's one of those, like, if you hear
Does anyone else get up to anything else in the house of Lord Evermorny before the morning comes? Okay. As you all you go to very well appointed, two very well appointed rooms, and then slightly less well appointed rooms that are attached via a side door for the serving folk, as they're all set up. Where you actually sleep is entirely up to you. No one is keeping track of that. But so yeah, there are two. There's one room designated for Verity, one for Nikaletta, and then both have attached servant rooms. Where you actually sleep is up to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be decided here.
actually attempting to do his job, he is going to sleep in the closest to Nikaletta.
Okay.
Same for Alastriona.
All right. In the morning, as you all get up, once you have communicated your needs, the house and trying to be good hosts, arrange a carriage. They are a little bit surprised hearing where you are going. Lord Evermorny actually will come over and say, "Terribly sorry. I just wanted to check in on this. Am I to understand you've been summoned to the house of Lady Rylan?"
Speaking to who is he speaking to?
To the group in general.
Just slide on in, just slide on out. It was a pleasure that you hosted us for the evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And just kind of mosey on out.
That was not an answer to my question at all. And he's kind of giving curious looks to everyone, but not disapproving, but almost impressed. Like that you all have an invitation there. And if no one really rises to the bait, you all make it in the carriage, takes you, and the house of Lady Rylan is very beautifully appointed, but also holds the hallmarks that you would come to expect of a place that is very much more of a sort of a facade on the outside, making, just showing, being very inviting with a lot of wealth showing on the outside in order to bring people in. There are balconies up top as there are ladies. In this cold weather, they're wearing warm kind of fur coats, but still sort of held low, showing plenty of shoulder available as folks come by, but not trying to beckon people in, because this is a place very much of invitation. And as the doors to the carriage open and you all step out to the house of Lady Rylan, and it is very well appointed, but on the inside it has much less Montagnian influence. The gilded, beauteous approach that you saw on the outside had really strong Montagnian vibes, but on the inside, it has a much more Vadachian feel. The couches arrayed, curtains hanging around, creating spaces where people can go and sit. And walking all around are a number of very beautiful people. One in particular steps up, absolutely gorgeous, wearing a dress that hangs off of the shoulders, steps up to you all and says, welcome to the house of Lady Rylan. May I see your invitation, please? Nikaletta hands it to her, and she looks and she reads and goes, oh, you must be Demetrius.
I am. I'm very curious on how of the nature of my invite.
Ooh.
One moment. My mistress will be very eager to know you're here. And she goes into the back, and shortly after, an absolutely gorgeous Vidachan woman walks out, dressed actually much more simply than many of the other women around walking the floor, as if she was a little bit rushed coming out. She comes out and she sees you, and this is definitely Bianca Ricci, looking just as gorgeous as when you'd known her before. If anything, maturity has ripened that beauty somewhat. And she walks up to you, throws her arms around your neck, and steps up to give you a slight kiss. She may be going for the cheek. She may be going for the lips. How does Demetrius respond?
Respectfully, the cheek, and hold her hand, bow, kiss the hand, and gracious.
Oh, Demetrius, a charmer as ever. I was so surprised to hear that you were in town, though not in the way that I heard that you were in town.
Rumors. I mean, you know me. I would never.
You would absolutely, precisely, do
time,
exactly what the rumors say.
Some might say it's a problem.
She laughs, and as she just kind of puts a hand on your chest for a second, it is so good to see you here. Tell me about your... And then she glances over to Verity and goes, Miss Victoire-Couteau, mademoiselle, I did not know you were traveling with this pirate.
Oh, yes, and she would, fiddle with the pin, secret handshake and all that.
She would smile and be like, I never got the pin, unfortunately, but life has been good since. And who else is with you? I'm sorry, I do not mean to be rude.
Knowing that Nikaletta hates it, she, of course... This is one of my dearest friends, the heiress to the Baronnie von Richter, Nikaletta von Richter.
An Eisner Baroness. What an honor to have you here. And she would walk up and shake your hand with both of hers, very...
Kind of awkwardly, just, yes, I...
Not shaking you, but... and everything about how she moves is beautiful and graceful.
I just see her shaking a hand like this, being like...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was going for, was Nikaletta's awkwardness, not hers.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And this is Alastriona, is it Toran?
Alastriona.
Toran. She is very clever, and I wouldn't want anyone else at my back. And she would totally give Demetrius another look.
Hey, woman's woman, you could say.
There's some work for that here as well. And she would shake Alastrina's hand and say, of Inishmore. I've only a couple of Inish girls, but they're some of my best. The energy that they bring to the job is absolutely top-notch.
Does Verity pick up on what she's implying now?
Probably.
No, not that. That's not what we mean by... no, she doesn't...
We do not judge here, you know.
It's not judgment, she's my bodyguard.
That's what we're calling it now.
This is where Nikaletta leans over to Demetrius. What else would she mean by woman's woman? I don't understand.
I don't know why she denies her love in public. It's such a...
I offered you the feather bed and you still sleep in the hovel? I don't want to hear it. And she's just there, just Because as travel companions in this type of thing, they would share beds in hotels and taverns all the time for the sake of cost and convenience. And so I'm just like, it's not even a big deal to her. She's just like, whatever, you wouldn't even share the nice bed with me.
I'll be sure to change that next time. My apologies. I didn't realize how much that meant to you, my dear.
Have you seen your radiator? I wouldn't even have to have anyone stoke the fire.
You see what I mean? Why does she boss up as a qualification? It's all behind.
Right.
So Bianca smiles and says, well, here, let me get you out of the main room, and we can talk about the reason for the invitation. Follow me. And she leads you back through several rooms. You get the impression that it's actually probably one big room that has been curtained off to create semi-private areas for women to meet with potential clients and stuff like that, and brings you around into a more of a business-like place, like still comfortable, still nice art and things like that on the walls, but obviously not a place where clients would normally be brought. And sits back and goes, can I offer you all food, drink, anything like that? We have we have clients of all kinds, so any preferences. We have some traditional Eisner breakfast foods, for example, or and our cellar has a very wide variety of drinks available.
I'll have your favorite wine for the day is.
My favorite again, huh? And she gives him a little bit of a grin. And everyone else.
I'll have whatever she's. Nikaletta is thoroughly enjoying watching this interaction, so she's just stone-faced, silent, just.
Alastriona, for you.
Oh, I'm not very fancy. Just your finest beer, I suppose. Or not
We do have
finest.
English whiskey, if you'd prefer.
Well, why didn't you say so? Absolutely, if you don't mind.
And Verity, darling, your usual Montagnan Chardonnay?
Actually, you should get this like face of just like, because it is you, and well, here. You wouldn't happen to have some of the school's private reserve, would you?
She gives a bit of a smile. As it happens, I got a certain supply of it in just a month ago, so yes, I could absolutely bring you a glass.
Oh yes, this is my favorite thing about running into sisters.
So she goes and she brings an order, and soon food is brought out, and there's a little bit of everything. There's some of the lighter Montagnan fare, crepes and stuff like that Verity can dig into. There's some good Vidachin like heartiness that's available for Demetrius if he wants to go for that. Some Inish recipes, and to your very great surprise, Nikaletta, actual Eisner sausage wurst. That's almost impossible to get even in Eisen, because there are very few places that stay in one place long enough to cure the meat anymore.
Oh, I love sausage; it's my favorite.
And so all of this is brought out, and she sits down. And at first, she's just sharing small talk, trying to make you all comfortable. She, at some point, does point out that obviously she is no longer with the merchant prince's son. She kind of smiles, gives a wink to Demetrius, and goes, well, you know, I was thinking about settling in, but apparently I am vulnerable to seduction, and one thing led to another, and eventually I ended up here. I never did finish my teaching at the school. Madame was understanding of where I was at, but you know her strict policy of finishing what you begin, and once I'd left, she needed to keep that policy going. But since you are all here, especially you, Demetrius, I was wondering if I could request a certain level of assistance from you. You see, there is a gang of toughs in the town. They call themselves the Men of Culture, which is just absolutely not whatever they think it means. And they've been demanding protection money, and apparently they think that we'd make an easy target.
Protection from what?
The sort of, we pay them money and they don't try to set fire to the place, so they don't threaten my customers. And all of that.
Those are the assholes that I beat up the other day.
They did refer to themselves as the men of culture, yes. Nikaletta, you also heard that term from the young men that you ran into at the chapel.
This seems to be a bit...
Verity, you didn't hear about them at all, because their asses had all been very thoroughly kicked before they were supposed to appear on the scene for you.
And they're beneath me, so that's fine.
These men of culture seem to enjoy sticking their noses where they don't belong.
Punch their noses.
Or cut them at the knee. They go down hard that way.
One question.
Yes.
Why don't you already have a god? Your establishment, the notoriety of your establishment is known. So why don't you, a god, take care of this?
We do not have gods of our own. There is the city god, and they do what they can, but their abilities are limited. And if we were to call upon any of our clientele, they might attempt to take more control than I'm willing to give them.
I see. And what exactly are you asking of me?
I was hoping you could find the men of culture and either convince them that this is not a place where they want to push their weight around, or perhaps figure out who's behind them. I doubt that they simply pulled our name out of a hat. And do what you can to make it so that they no longer bother us. It does not necessarily have to be a permanent solution. I suspect if they have their noses rubbed in it once or twice, they will move on. This is not what I'm good at. I'm a hostess at heart.
Is there a way for me to? Does she seem genuine?
She seems pretty on the level to you. She's trained as a courtesan, and so has an ability to tell people what they want to hear. If you want to try to suss her out, go ahead and give me your wits and empathy.
What about Verity? Would she be able to?
You all are hearing this, so if anyone wants to try to pick it out.
So it's what and what? Wits and
empathy.
And empathy. Ooh. Well,
everyone rolling this, you're going to have
a bonus.
2 risks, and the risks are potential misreads on the situation.
8, 9, 3 raises.
3?
3 as well.
3.
No, I'm not rolling.
3.
I got no empathy, so.
3 all around.
So,
3
all around. You all feel fairly confident that she is on the level with what she wants. She is walking a very fine line. Her business is not illegal, but it is frowned on by some parts of society. Hers is particularly high level, and so she's walking the line of, like she said, she doesn't want to pay protection. She knows protection costs only go up, but she also does not want to become too indebted to any of her noble patrons who might just then try to take ownership of the whole thing. And so dealing with outsiders who will eventually leave, if there's one thing she knows about Demetrius, it's that he eventually leaves. Sorry, couldn't help myself. It's a way to kind of keep control of her business without risking it falling under anyone else's control.
Very well. Do you know the name of the last one who represented the gentleman of culture that was here?
It was some lout named Matthew. Came in, tried to push his way in, pushed around my doorman a little bit, tried to grab one of the girls. I was able to handle him with the sword, but having never become a full duelist, I wouldn't be able to take on the whole gang by myself.
And what did this Matthew look like?
Dirty face, hair all unkempt. We would never have let him in, even if he'd had an invitation. And there was an odd smell to him.
Smell? How so?
Like old stale fertilizer.
Starts walking off, no words.
Would that have matched anything that Alastriona would have come across when she fought those people, or?
When you were fighting, thinking back, they did have an odd smell. You were in a stable, and so there was actual manure in the place.
That is fair.
But possibly, like there was an odd smell, and now that you think of it, it might have been distinct from the manure.
Quick above table question. Is this a smell I recognize?
Yes. As we discussed, things that you grow require fertilizer, and fertilizer is basically formally living things being worked.
It's okay, it's medicines. We don't need to get into too many details.
And as much as friendship is a great cause as any to help you in your endeavors, but as you can see, my company is much higher blood than I am. So, can you offer, or is this just a...
There is. Oh, I would not dream of asking any of you. You are all of you professionals. If you were to do this, there's several ways in which I could offer payment. Gold is obviously the easy, and she names a decent sum for offering to traveling mercenaries. I also have these marks, and she reaches in and pulls out several coins. They are made of gold, but they're not currency in any nation you would have known. Verity, however, you recognize them. They were sometimes passed around in the House of Ambrosia, and they're basically there are quite a few affiliated brothels of this type throughout the nations of Thea, and showing this at any of them shows that you are worthy of an invite. It's not a do business free type thing, but if it's an exclusive club, this is a path. This is a pathway in. It is very sought after, particularly among the nobles of the various houses and courts.
Would you consider this sufficient payment?
Bianca, that is surprising. You are full of surprises. So I do have to say, and she gestured to the establishment kind of vaguely, you know, I think I recall someone's mentor very much so hated the blank line. You could always, perhaps, sign that line and finish something. You might get some additional support for your very prestigious establishment. Just a thought.
She smiles. It has been discussed. Are you asking me to open negotiations to join the guild?
You are your own woman, clearly, but I just think you might find that it is going to be more beneficial to take those final steps than to keep trying to fight an uphill battle on your own. Sisterhood and all that.
Mm-hmm. The House of Ryland has been independent for 3 generations, but now that it's in Vodachan hands, I don't think anyone would be very surprised if it joined the Ambrosia Guild. For you, I will see if they'd be willing to have a member who was not a full sister.
I think having such a place to facilitate different sorts of meetings and the to and fro of items, they'll find a reason to bend the rules.
Madame very seldom bent any rules, except for you, as I recall.
Veronica likes a challenge, and I negotiated my way to somehow getting the pin.
In any case, yes. So, to any of you, if you wish to be paid in coin, if you wish to be paid in membership, if you wish to be paid and should go without saying, you will, regardless of what payment you get, would have an open invitation to this house whenever you should want it.
I very much so appreciate the extended invitation to the house. Thank you.
I'll take the invitations.
Okay, and she will hand and just sort of freely hand them both to you. This would normally be done afterwards. This is showing a fair amount of trust in Demetrius, giving you all some of the. And when she actually hands hers, hands the one to Demetrius, instead, like the rest of you get them out of a pile. There's one in particular that she pulls out of a bag that she presses into Demetrius's hand. And it's the same as the other, but there is a small stamp of a rose in the back of it. And Demetrius, you get the impression that this is a bit more personalized.
Well, Verity would look at Alastriona. You want money? A piece of paper?
I guess it depends on what's on the paper. Out of the two that you just said, money sounds more interesting. But
so she will nod, and she will lean back in, and she will hand you she hands you a piece of paper, but you recognize this. This is a letter of credit with the Vendel house. Traders that operate all over Thea. Take this to any of their offices, and there's a bag of gold at the other side. This is about as guaranteed an IOU.
that's good paper.
Very well. Are there any other questions you have for me? I do need to be seen to my girls here soon, but...
Do you recall the last place you saw these men of culture?
You can spot them all over the streets. They tend to have red kerchiefs tied around their shoulders, sort of as a mark. Some of them are terribly dirty.
Bad fashion, poor hygiene.
I guess we have a place to stop.
Demetrius, I'm so grateful you showed up. I was on the verge of having to speak to one of the lords about it.
Oh,
I've never been happier to hear about a charlatan.
No, I'm no longer. Remember, I'm a man of respect. I am a humble bodyguard now. Haven't you heard?
He has been the best of guards for the past couple of weeks. Very capable.
Yes.
You heal of someone you can take advantage of, and then you don't waste time. And she would definitely give Bianca a look of like, don't think I don't see what you're doing.
Bianca looks at you and smiles and just goes, we were very good friends. And I'm glad to know we still are.
We'll see.
And Bianca will rise and be like, please enjoy the rest of your meal, and if there's anything we can do to help in your investigation, I know some of the girls might have been bothered by them as they move around in the street. They might be worth talking to as well. And she heads out to do the many tasks that it takes to be a madam of a house like this.
A bard.
Alrighty.
Okay, so what is it she wanted us to do with these cultured men? To tell them to go kick rocks? Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yes, and also probably finding out who hired them to disturb her business.
What's that?
Let's find this Matthew, because He seems like someone of interest.
Sounds like a rather bothersome brute.
Yes. Let's see if we can find him. So, yeah, I guess I'll just, the trail of investigation, maybe find one of the working girls who, who will know, like, where that we can, like, specifically go, because I, don't want to just be wandering around,
Yeah. Going out and talking with the girls, most of their information is very similar to what they gave to you. One in particular, named Marie, mentions that she has run into this Matthew several times, often at the Siren's Kiss. He can usually be found there at the bar drinking at odd times. Used to be he would come and buy some drink and like something watered down and just nurse it for a while, but now it's like he has money all of a sudden, and likes pushing his weight around, and that's when she used to occasionally take shifts waitressing there and doesn't anymore, because he's just a little too forward and she feels safer working in the House of Rutland.
Oh. Delightful. The more I hear about Matthew, the more I cannot wait to meet him.
I can certainly wait to meet that big brute. Sounds like
Yeah. I'll head to the when I guess around the time that Matthew will get. That's probably when I would want to be over there.
All right, you all start making your way down to the Siren's Kiss. You know where it is well enough. You've actually stayed there at least one night before nicer accommodations were arranged for. And as you make your way, you open up, and right there at the bar, as you all walk in, you can see a large, brutish-looking man with a red kerchief tied around one shoulder as he's, talking. Sometimes guys drink and they talk a lot of trash, and that's what this guy's doing. He doesn't even really care to who. He's just pushing his weight around, drinking, but he keeps putting down money, and so in general, the staff seems to be tolerating him. And it's, it's now probably around 11 o'clock in the morning, and so it's not quite the lunch rush yet, and so patrons coming down from their rooms and stuff like that are just generally trying to give him room.
Well, I apologize for causing a scene, and I walk over to after he's like sitting at a table. What's his?
He's sitting on a stool at the bar.
I'll sit, but kind of facing the not my legs in towards the bar, but kind of on the outside. Yeah. Matthew, I've heard so much of you. How are you this day?
He looks over at you and he's like, I can't say I've heard much of you. What brings you here?
Oh, Demetrius Penn goes where he must. I'm not sure if you heard of him.
Never mind. I have heard of you.
Ah, yeah. So which gallant tale have you heard of me? Which one?
Oh.
Well, we have a break,
the five.
And I gesture for a drink as he talks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard about the 5 gold some man down by the docks is willing to pay to see you with a couple of black eyes.
Oh, 5 gold seems so low. So low to die for. And as the drink gets there,
are you still wearing the cloak?
Oh yeah, it's a good cloak.
He looks at the very nice cloak and he goes, "Some Vidachan Poff like you is gonna threaten me."
Threat is not a good word, because normally I would have maybe tempt you to give me information or used some of my more charming savoir-faire to let down your guard. But here's my problem with men like you. See,
Men like me.
yes. And, men were very easy to threaten those that he thinks are weaker, are so dumb that they don't keep their guard up. And I cock my pistol, and it's at like aiming at his family jewels. Now, normally this is the part where I tempt or threaten. But when my friend asks me and I see fear in her heart, I don't talk, and I shoot his foot.
All right. The shot works. Shots with pistols are not dodgeable. He now has a major wound. And he collapses down on the floor and just slams the floor and looks up and is like, "You fucking."
Oh, those are not.
There are ladies present.
How about the next words out of your mouth is who paid you to interfere with... I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the brothel.
The House of Lady Ryland.
The House of Lady... Oh, that's it. Lady Ryland. Oh, look at you. You'll remember, your memory is sharp. Who paid you?
All about those whores.
Ah, yes. And now I take my blade, and I apologize to... I look over at Verity, and my apologies for the uncivilized what I am about to do, and I look over at Nikaletta for your collection, and I go to chop his thumb off.
You know what? He's down. He's distracted with the shit. This is not a risk, particularly in this moment. The thumb goes flying, leaving a bloody streak into the air as he breaks down, swearing again.
No shame whatsoever. Woo!
And I normally it takes the bigger man to call it quits, but you keep not answering my questions, you're gonna be a lesser man every single moment.
Do they teach this in your guild?
It's more of a old trade.
How...
Actually, this is... You were in Vadachi for a time. You remember what it was like with the merchant princes. This is actually fairly...
Yeah.
If anything, Demetrius is holding back.
How very refined.
I wasn't the contact. I'm just muscle.
But muscle gets paid, and who pays you?
His name is Ranger. It's the only name he ever gives. We never see him on the streets.
But where do you see him? And I cock the gun, and I just kind of lay it at his chin.
They're gonna murder me right here in front of witnesses.
Oh no, of course not. Don't stop it.
Alina, everyone remembers the Demetrius Penn virtue. Demetrius Penn, stealing of a young woman. And I leaned in so no one else can hear. But they forget I am Demetrius Penn, the greatest art thief that has ever been known. And I have killed anyone who has come across me. Do you remember those stories?
Well, that's a villain arc waiting to happen.
The catacombs.
The catacombs!
Under the churches.
Don't get so excited, Nikaletta.
But it is very interesting. Very nice beneath the catacombs. This air is very easy to breathe. It's very damp, very cool.
If you find animal bones, you can take them, but we are not taking any more people bones.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking people bones.
Matthew, I believe it is time for you to find a new line of work, and it has been a pleasure. Bon voyage. And to the catacombs. And again, my apologies, Verity.
You didn't get any blood on my dress, I'm fine.
Oh, did I? Oh, no. I look at the coat.
Yes, there is blood.
Oh!
But it's red on red, so it's not going to be very visible.
Nikaletta,
Yes.
do you have anything that might get the blood out?
Lemon juice does that very well.
What right before I step over, Matthew is still probably going, lemon juice for the road. For the road. Thank you.
Yeah, you were at a tavern in fantasy England. They don't have lemons behind the bar.
Okay.
That's why my response was lemon.
It was the first thing okay, hang on. Bicarbonate soda. Better.
You know what?
Do they have a soda stream in here? Let's find out.
No, you make it from hot wood ash. Don't worry, we shall take care of it. I'll take care of it.
See, Nikaletta will get this thing out later.
Yes,
We'll raid that guy's mansion for whatever she needs.
All right, you all are able to step out. And interestingly, Nikaletta knows exactly where to go. How obvious is Nikaletta in, oh yeah, follow me, I know the way? Like, are you be like, oh, what luck, there's something here? Or is she just like, yes, it's here for me?
Pretty much, yeah. She's
Yeah.
just very unashamedly. It's this way, come on. We should go down here.
I don't know, I'd love it if she's really bad at faking, pretending like she doesn't, and she's like looking really intently at a single brick, just being like, I think no, and just walk past, and we're all just like, we just waited 5 minutes for you to stare at a brick and you had nothing to do. Okay.
Normally I would agree, but the thing with Nikaletta is that it's not even crossing her mind that it would be weird that she knows where this is. So she's just absent-mindedly, I know exactly where we're going. It's fine. Come on. They don't think
It's
this
like,
is weird.
come on, guys. It's just like last time. It's like, what do you mean last time? We've never done this before.
I've never been here before.
When was the last time we were in a cave? What?
Weeks. How does she know that?
So she leads you to the Objectionist Chapel, and as you go in, you step your way, you're looking around. She takes you to this weird side door by the votives and leads you down into this maze of catacombs that are built under the chapel, and as far as you can tell, seemingly everywhere through underneath this particular section of town. Verity, how much time did you ever spend in the capital of Montaigne?
You know what?
In the capital city. Your family had lands out in the countryside. Did you go to the palace of l'Empereur very often?
I would say she would have before leaving for school, so she would have been like a young girl.
Okay.
I'd say young enough that she wasn't out yet, so she like never saw nightlife. She only saw daytime social events.
There were tales of the catacombs underneath the capital city, but at that age and what you heard, it would have been like, oh, they're haunted, there's ghosts of ancient civilizations down there. The kind of stuff you tell kids about, hey, there's these tunnels where we keep the dead people. So
She would so say all those things and just watch Nikaletta get more excited.
Nikaletta, ghost stories read different to you than most people. When you hear the children ghost stories, what is Nikaletta's response?
That is fascinating. Do you know where, by any chance, where this originated? The story, I mean. Is there legitimacy behind this, or is it just your parents trying to make you not be the rotten little brats?
I think that was to you, Verity.
What was the question?
Oh dear. Okay. All right. No,
My
the ghost
talents?
stories, the ghost stories are fascinating. Do you not find them fascinating?
I have not met many ghosts. Have you?
Ghosts? Define.
I think I would want you to define.
Well, man, I haven't seen anything go. That's what you mean? I don't think so.
But you have seen. What have you seen?
I've seen much the same as everybody else. Aren't we going down to catacombs? Why are we talking
Long
about?
ago.
Oh, look, a segue.
As you travel down into the catacombs, you pass the room, the mortuary. Again, of all the, like, down here, the temperature is much more temperate, but there is this one side room which again has a tunnel designed to funnel heat out of the room, and therefore it is colder than anything else around, while still protected from the weather. And this is as far as you explored when you came down here before, Nikaletta. And you all are in. Oh, by the way, Nikaletta would have told you all before you went down that there is not light down there. So what provisions would you all be making? No natural light. So what provisions would you all be making to bring some light down there?
I have my tiny candles that I had from before. It's a little shorter this time.
And any hanging lanterns, because I imagine people travel through here a couple times. So is there anything?
So there is. It does look like there's a hook for lanterns hanging near the steps, but there aren't any on it. It looks like there's a place for that sort of thing to be kept, but none are there at the moment.
Verity would like elbow Alastriona. It's like, you carry things that react to fire. Do you have anything that doesn't explode?
I don't think I have anything that actually does explode.
Oh.
But I might be able to have something. She would likely carry at least like one torch, kind of like a little mini one around. So it's like, got this. I just need to be able to light it.
Yep, you're able to reach in your bag and you have a torch on you that you can have ready to ignite, and you have tinder and that sort of stuff, so pretty easily strike it. And you've got a whole torch in your hand. Should be sufficient light for most of the group. Better than a votive candle stolen from the prayer room, anyway.
It did the job.
Yeah, Nicholas, like, my light is helping just as much.
This little light of mine.
Emphasis on the little.
So, Alastriona has a torch, and as you all make your way down into the catacombs, and again, there's a certain feel to a place when it's set up for the purposes of being a mortuary, for being a burial place, and this doesn't quite have that feel. It's not rough-hewn, it's not random, but you're not able, any of you, to really read the pattern right away as you're going through. It's hard to tell what precisely these tunnels were originally meant for. And those of you with any kind of knowledge about looking at like craft things and stuff like that, you would see that the various alcoves that have been cut into the walls for laying bodies are not as old as the catacombs themselves. These tunnels served a different purpose hundreds of years ago, but once they did serve another purpose. Stepping down, you have a path that leads straight on. Nikaletta, you would remember this would lead toward where you had heard the voices the previous time you'd been down here. There are also a couple of other side passages that go off in any number of directions. It's pretty clear you all could get lost in here pretty quickly.
Listening down the passage that I recall the voices coming from before, given that there was no lantern where there should have been one, do I hear anything?
All right. You kind of take a moment to kind of raise your hand for quiet and listen. And after a moment, there is a sort of muttering noise that kind of comes seemingly in that direction. But again, the echoes in here make echolocation difficult.
Fair. It seems there may be somebody here. Perhaps whoever might have that lantern from the entrance. Well, what do we want to do? Do we want to step forward and take charge and take our chances, or shall we carry on and come back another time.
We could always find a good place to hide and then scream, see who comes instead of walking into their lair, maybe draw some of them out.
That is true.
I don't have a better plan. Much more of a walk through the front door, but there is some substantial risk going into a lair, so see if we can lure a few.
It's always dangerous going down into, say, unseen rooms in churches.
Oh yeah, that's So
right.
I guess wait till we hear something. And
So, like,
Alright,
is there a good place for us to hide? I mean, I know it's dark, so it's sort of like, but is there a good place for us to hide?
It's going to be hard for Alastriona to hide because it's hard to hide a torch.
Well, no,
Second
we'd have to put the
out.
torch out to set this trap. But it's like, is there a good place
So,
for us to hide?
With complete darkness, hiding is more a matter of just getting out of the way of people who might walk through. And there are options there. You all could go into the mortuary room and be in there. It's not on the main passage. Or there are all of these alcoves that were cut into the walls of these tunnels, all of which have a body and bones of some variety in them. But here, they're fairly old, rather decrepit, so...
with the torch and everything on the ground, does it look like this is a pathway that's been walked? Or is it full of, or are we the first people to be walking?
Yes. There is it looks like there has been a fair amount of traffic from the door to the mortuary. It's an active mortuary. This is where they keep corpses before funerals. People are down here probably a fair bit. There are steps that go beyond it. Those are not nearly as numerous, but not just one or two people either. You do notice that, given that there are bodies on either side of the tunnels, people try to walk as close to the middle as they can, and so a lot of the footsteps are right in the middle, and so it's hard to give a number to how many people have been walking.
So we can hide in one of these side rooms behind the tables of the cadavers, and we can scream to try to draw them out, yeah?
Verity's like, yes, I know my role, and she just kind of gets ready and sort of adjusts herself. Is like, is it? And she like starts making herself cry a little bit. She's like, yes, okay. Like bewilderment? Should I be in fear? Should it be horror? Have I just been assaulted, or am I terrified by a ghost? What should I go with?
You're running for your life. You're petrified. You're in the catacombs. How'd you get here? You've been making lefts and rights.
Yes, I'm lost. Yes, and I'm just at my wit's end. Okay, I've got it. Okay, are all of you ready? We need to put out the light. Why am I British?
Understand.
Verity commits.
Oh, that's good. Do that.
She changes her whole personality.
She becomes British for this gag, and all she's got to do is scream.
That way no one would accuse Verity of screaming, because Verity is a badass duelist.
She was definitely not a French girl. And be like, not a French girl. What a weird thing to know.
All right, so Verity screams. I'm not going to ask you to actually do it. For the sake of all the speakers. The light is put out, and you all go into the morgue. Are you keeping up the crying? Are you that committed to the role?
What, she's in the dark, unsuspiciously distanced from the entrance she expects the people to appear from.
Okay. So
whatever an unsuspicious distance is.
You're just kind of out of the way in the mortuary after the screaming. For a while, you can again hear the noise that might be voices, but it's still pretty indistinct for a while. I don't know if you all have ever spent a lot of time in a completely dark room.
It's a very ominous
Especially
feeling.
one with bodies in it.
Very ominous feeling.
The human mind finds patterns even when patterns aren't there. And in the dark, the nothingness in front of your eyes, you're constantly getting the impression of movement. What was that? What was that sound? What was happening there? What was going on? And Nikaletta,
Is that the centipede?
a while back, on one of the many adventures you've had with some of your friends here, you were given a crystal ball. About this big. And again, it starts to feel warm.
Oh, why does it keep making my ball warm? I don't... Oh, shyster. Okay. She's kind of like poking to look over the cadaver. Like,
Again, complete blackness down here, so there's nothing to see.
oh, that is so strange. I want... Oh, gosh. Moving the crystal ball out away from me, does it get warmer moving in any particular direction?
As you're kind of moving it around, kind of testing it, give me your wit and scholarship. If you have any sort of bonus for hexen work, that will apply here.
2 raises.
2 raises. You haven't had much time to study this thing yet. You have picked up on the fact that it is sensitive to hexen work. It was given to you by that odd Eisner gentleman. You were never quite sure why. You kind of got separated as the events of the night took off. It's not hot like it was that first time, that first reaction. But you do get a sense someone has done hexen work in here. There is... And thinking back, you remember when you were getting your samples, there were some odd wounds. You didn't think much of a time because you didn't know how they died, but you realize, oh, I wasn't the first one harvesting in here.
Oh. Do any of the cadavers look like their chests have been opened?
Again, you can't see anything now, but you do remember one corpse that you did not go to. That its shirt was unbuttoned, and that indicates that maybe some of the work went there, and you think you remember which cadaver it was. You can't see it now, but you think you could get to that table.
I'll go check that cadaver then.
Everyone else, someone is moving in the room. You do not know who, you cannot see who immediately. Unless, maybe Demetrius, if you actually had a hand on Nikaletta in this moment. Otherwise, all of you are just suddenly aware something is moving. Any other reactions? No? All right.
Try to hold the laugh. Just, do we hear anyone, like, is this, like, causing someone to come by? Are we hearing footsteps?
Not footsteps yet, though you are starting to hear voices. You get to the table where the guy is, and you reach over, and you can see that there has been an incision. You can feel that there has been an incision on his chest. And as you kind of play with the incision, you realize his heart has been removed.
Oh, that's not good. Okay. Well, shit. We can take heart. Everybody's in the room. Damn it. I'm going to try to sneak my way back. Like the moving through the room gets considerably more rush sounding, or it's Demetrius.
Yes.
Someone there's been harvesting here.
Okay.
No, it's very, very bad. It's symbols of. She's trying to enunciate the point of the problem without outing herself.
Would
Is this
Verity be able to
run
hear
for
them?
our lives? Is this a run for our lives moment?
It's not yet, but it's also not a very good sign. I wouldn't be dawdling here any longer than we have to. There is as lovely as it sounds, there is evil Edvard here. Likely.
Can Verity hear them?
Yeah, it is a mostly stone room. Like, they're whispering, but they're also trying to be heard, and so...
There's an echo. It just doesn't go too far past like 2 or 3 rooms outside of where we're at.
Yeah.
Oh, woe is me!
I'm so sorry. You're doing great. You're doing great.
It's like she can't even see them exactly, so she's like just glaring in their general direction and knows they can't see her glaring, but they can feel it.
Now folks who are watching the door can see that the outer hallway is now getting illuminated, and you can definitely hear voices like, I know it came from this way. Who would be screaming when they could just go up to the I don't know, just... People aren't supposed to be down here. I thought taking the lanterns would keep people away. And folks are coming forward.
As they like reach the point where they would start illuminating near her, she would just like drop down and just cover her face and just sort of start rocking like she's in a hysteric state.
All right, so as Verity is doing that, what is everyone else doing? Are folks visible and just kind of staring at her? Are you all getting out of sight? Like, what's happening?
I guess getting out of sight just so I can see if they are people that we are these, the people we're looking for, or are they just people who work there? We just need to.
Did she hear them say, I thought taking the lanterns would keep people away? I would have heard that.
Yeah, you all would have heard that, yeah.
I'm paying absolutely no mind to what's going on over there. I'm busying myself. We're supposed to be drawing their attention anyways. There's a small vial of oil that, if anybody catches a whiff of it, it's got a very strong scent of some kind of spiced herb, ginger, and myrrh somewhat, and I'm smearing it over the foreheads of each cadaver in this room.
All right, and Alastriona?
Alastriona is taking the role of, like, she wants to stay near where Verity is because that's kind of her job.
Her woman's woman.
She is a woman's woman after all.
The best of them.
Yes. I'm the booty guard. So she's going to stay nearby, and she's going to try and do, like, kind of lean into the act that's going on and almost be like the comforting friend nearby. Like, there. It'll be okay. It's going to be all right. Like, kind of playing up that something's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And for clarification, Dan, this the oil that she was smearing was her tears of the prophet. It's makes it to where any dead bodies cannot return to life.
Yes. Yes, you are applying the tears of the prophet. And as you apply them, as you apply them to the body with the heart removed, you see it jerk and then go limp.
Going back to doing the rest of the oil on the rest of the cadavers.
No one else sees that. It's not a big movement, just sort of like almost like a sleep spasm. As a few rough-looking young men with red kerchiefs tied around their shoulders step in the room and go, "The hell are you doing down here?"
She would spring up and grasp the closest one and just be like, "Did you see it? It was horrible. It was pale, and I could put my hands inside it, and no one else can see it, but I swear it was there. And she's somehow actually managed to get real tears, and her like makeup is totally perfectly smeared, and she looks like a woman completely lost grip.
Distraught.
Okay, so give me your panache and performance, unless you want to try to talk me into something else.
That's not great.
Veronique will not be happy.
You got this, Verity.
The next roll is probably going to be a better one.
Don't forget flair.
Oh, 4 now. Yay. That's there we go.
So I'm going to give this, you have 2 risks of some buffeting and 1 opportunity. So
what does the hero point do for me in this scenario? Just another dice? Or?
You spending a hero point only gives you 1 more die. Someone else spending a hero point would give you 3.
I got an extra hero point from my quirk of when I go out of my way to ensure that the dead stay dead, so you can have a hero point.
Ah, yes, true.
And do we, by the way, just clarity, do we start a game with a hero point, or do we have to consistently
you start the game with 1 hero point, except those who have the advantage that lets them start with 2.
Gotcha.
This got a lot better. Hey. It's always a good sign. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
3 raises. So you will be able to, you complete the task. One of them trying to, so you can either mitigate both risks of wounds, or mitigate one of them and take the opportunity.
Okay, I'll go with the opportunity.
Okay, so in their attempt to get you to calm down, they are a little bit rough. There's a little bit of shaking, buffeting. No one quite slaps you, but it's that vibe, and so take you 1 minor wound from a little bit of rough treatment from these rough characters. But you have convinced them that you are a little bit out of your mind and hysterical, and just trying to get a hold of everything that's going on. But as all of this is happening and they're interacting with you, you do manage to see a piece of paper in the pocket of the one that is moving with you and going back and forth, and you're able to kind of lift it out, and giving just the smallest of glances, it looks like marching orders of some kind, and you're able to pocket it without anyone noticing. Finally they go around to like, wait a minute, it's not just you, it's... What are you all doing down here?
You know what? She's going to punch him right in the fucking face.
We are moving into combat,
he's gonna literally ask that question, and as he looks away from her towards whoever, her fist is just uppercut right across.
Okay. You all aren't entirely sure. You're fighting a brute squad. You're not sure how many of them there are yet. So obviously we're getting, I'm going to call it brawn and brawl from Verity, as she just punches a guy. What are other approaches in this fight?
No, you go ahead.
So there's tables and stuff, and there's the torch on the floor, and I guess their torch that they came in. So I would probably
they are carrying lanterns, so the room is actually pretty well lit right now.
So I would do a little smash. You gotta kind of grab like almost using the environment. So grabbing the torch and using that to kind of splash a guy's head to the side and
Sure.
maybe throw something at him. Ugh.
So let's call that brawn and weaponry.
Awesome.
Nikaletta?
I want to. Well, Nikaletta's gonna start readying her pistol. So she's
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got.
All right, you're going to be able to fire your first shot, but then you're going to require 5 raises to get it reloaded. This is going to be your finesse and aim for the shot.
Yes.
And then Alastriona.
Would the torch that she had at least have a little bit of like heat to it still at this point?
It's still like you didn't put it out that long ago, so it's still definitely hot and
Okay.
still definitely a big stick.
Okay, she's going like that's probably like the closest thing she has at the moment. While she's trying to grab for one of her swords, she's going to take the hot heavy stick and like basically try to go in a stabbing motion so that she burns somebody like with it.
Roger.
While trying to get her
gonna
sword
be-
out.
That's going to be brawn and weaponry. Yes, you do in fact get a hero point for punching him due to the foolhardy. Quirk.
I don't get my fencer, do I?
No, you don't get fencer for a torch. All right, so there's some punching around. You're dealing with the brute squad. Again, you don't know how many of them there are because a bunch of them are still out in the hallway. How many raises do we have? 2, 2.
What am I rolling?
Your brawn and brawl.
That is
For
such
the
a
punch.
mood. What am I doing?
5
4
for Alastriona? 4. All right.
I now have 3 hero points, and I will use them on other people if someone gives one to me, so that I can roll 2 dice because I have 0 brawl.
Oh, you got it.
I just assumed that she couldn't pull a weapon out fast enough, but she could definitely land her. And I feel like if I get any wounds from this, it's going to be so one of the like.
Also remember flair. This is your first time punching someone, so maybe ever. So
Ooh,
definite flair.
3.
I will absolutely give a hero point as Demetrius does. Like he's watching like this incredibly interesting novella, and she just oh my god,
Take another 3 dice there, Verity.
fully committed to the
Okay,
bit.
so-
He is.
So 2, 2, 4, so total of 8, and then we'll see what Verity comes up with.
This is so sad, but also awesome. Oh shit! Let's see. Well, 1, 2, 3.
All
To me.
Doesn't
So,
matter if I try to
8,
put those
7.
together; it's not going to make 10.
No matter how you put it. So with 11 raises, the 4 of you moving quickly in the moment, throwing your punches. You go, Demetrius and Alastriona grabbing just sticks or whatever is nearby and coming in. You are able to crack heads, moving quickly. Alastriona takes like 4 of them out. Just an enraged tiny hurricane moving through and just smashing people with
That
his
is
hot
a
heavy.
woman.
Demetrius, you managed to drop 2 people. Nikaletta pulls her pistol and shoots a guy. He goes down, and in
Right in his
the bullet
face.
passes through him and gets the guy behind him, and the 2 of them just collapse to the ground as you move around. Another 7 then run into the room. Verity, however, having absolutely haymakered the guy she threw the punch at, just kind of keeps it going. staying in the context of unarmed combat, how do you drop 2 more guys as they run into the room? Verity, what does it look like?
You know, it's gonna always keep coming back to these boots. So she's going to straight up.
The mates were walking.
Well, and also kicking someone upside the head. But she's definitely going to get at least one of them upside the head with her foot. She is just going to come forward and swing the leg in a maybe slightly more dancey kind of way. She's improvising.
As your boot is going towards the head, they're like, "Is that gold?" and they go down. And as they're all collapsing,
Felt like
another 5 walk into the room. And they look around, and Alastriona, you were the one who got into the midst of everybody. So they're all coming at you. And they're swinging and they're punching, and you are going to take 5 minor wounds.
I have Riot Breaker. So when I'm taking wounds from a brute squad, subtract resolve from the wounds. And the remainder is how many wounds taken. So,
how much resolve do you have?
I have 2, so that would mean I only take 3.
You only take 3 minor wounds, which I believe still keeps you shy of a major wound.
I do.
All right.
Because I still have that minor wound from when I dealt with the other squad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you do. Though that also should have been reduced.
No, because it has to be a minimum of 1.
Oh, minimum of 1. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So you see them all going into like pummel Alastriona, and some of you are getting up like, "Oh no, we have to save her." And then you watch as she's just like, Neo at the end of the Matrix was like one hand behind the back. Like Alastriona is just moving among them, and they're having trouble landing a hit on her. There's 5 of them left.
Just like, whoa.
Yeah. There's 5 of them left. What are approaches in the second round of combat?
Gonna throw my dagger. I'm gonna just
finesse and aim.
That is better.
Alastriona is going to. She would come up to at least a couple of them and try to, double fight them essentially.
Okay.
She'll
giving her a hero point.
Okay. Go ahead.
You don't have to. I start sessions with 2. We're good.
I have too many right now.
Okay, but I'll take your.
They gotta do something.
All right. So either.
And I owe Demetrius one.
Either brawn or finesse and weaponry, Alastriona, as you're going in with your dual swords, and now you do get your senses. Nikaletta, are you reloading your pistol, or what else? What are you doing here?
Depends. What is my bowl doing? Is it getting hotter at any of these jackasses running in the room?
You haven't noticed it getting warmer yet, no. But that said, you have been pretty distracted.
Fair. Well, then she'll pull out the crystal ball. In that case, she's got the spent pistol in one hand. She kind of does this number and just, is it warmer or not? She just gets her hand on it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and have you do the wits and scholarship. This is not going to help towards combat, but this is you trying to figure out something in the midst of the fight. Demetrius.
Just gonna have to go to the good old blade and
all right.
Engage.
So either brawn or finesse and weaponry.
It's always with finesse. Okay. I'm fighting. I'm fighting this right next to the well-renowned duelist. I have to at least show that I am worthy of being in the room. So every day, it's just even though it's kind of dark, so I'm making sure the footwork is where it's supposed to be, being a lot more elegant than I normally would be.
Step 1 through step 1 through step 1. All right, what are our raises?
Remind me, if you get multiple 10s, does that do anything, or?
No, it doesn't crit in that way, but a 10 will always be a raise, even if I raise the difficulty. So. Okay,
and I did get more dice because Verity gave me a hero point, right?
Yes, gave you an additional 3.
So that's 1, 2. That's 6 raises.
Well, damn.
Because I got 3 10s.
Two from Verity. Yeah, these guys are all going down.
It's going down.
Alastriona could have handled them on her own, as could Demetrius.
Bodyguards got this.
This is bouncing them back and forth. Like, as y'all are just moving in and out between them, you all recognize that Alastriona could handle this. That said, you're not going to let her have all the fun. And give the descriptions of how you are just absolutely trouncing these louds. Like, what do you look like? Go as anime as you want.
Oh, she is like weaving through and almost like using their own momentum against each other, like kind of like a game of cat and mouse. She'll like get in front of one, kind of play with it, and then move away as she notices another so that they're getting themselves. Just sort of like zipping them by, and then turns, like 2 of them have hit each other, then she turns around and whacks another guy. Like she's turning it into a fun game.
With every person who's kind of like stumbling past, like as they gain their feet, like, hello, and I'll use the punnel of my blade to hit him in the face, and it's I was really trying to be way more, but she's doing so much of their work, and so I'll just like make the fight, like no. And, like, as one of the guys, I could have knocked him out. Like, no, stand back up. No, come on. You give me something here.
We're just playing with them. We're having fun.
And Verity.
Did I get someone with my dagger?
Yeah, absolutely. You get up. You pull the dagger. So this one guy runs up. Alastriona punches him. He staggers over. No, Alastriona didn't punch him. You had your swords out. She catches him in the gut. Demetrius comes around, catches him in the side, and as he's finally like, wait, I think the dagger catches him in the throat. And he goes
Verity,
down.
and I helped.
That is my kill. I know, I don't care.
I seem like I gave the more grievous wound.
Nikaletta,
Debatable.
you, as you're examining this thing, which you are still not entirely sure how it works, it occurs to you as you're kind of fiddling around with it, moving around, you realize it went cool when you applied the Prophet's Tears.
So there's okay. So that is very interesting. Kind of poke my head over the side, like, is the fight done yet? Because she's no good in a fight.
And yes, it is well and truly done, as everyone's been knocked down. And again, it is quiet. There's groans of pain. Not everyone's dead. There are, some pistols. Nothing looking particularly good. Daggers and stuff that they have easily handled. And Verity, you have the orders that you managed to pocket.
She would be like, oh, yes, someone went to... Oh, and she'd reach over and, like, snatch a lantern from under one of the guys and be like, excellent. She'd lift it to read.
All right. You see a number of businesses, and you realize with the directions that are being given that you can find your way to these various businesses. Probably on the back there is a map of the catacombs in the various places, which will allow the gang, which goes by the name the Men of Culture, to get where they are going in force, without being seen in the streets by the guards. So this is how they've been able to do a fair amount of shaking down local businesses without the guards stomping on them, because the guards never see them moving in great numbers. There are a few businesses that are listed that have not yet started paying the protection money, the most prominent of which is the House of Lady Rylan. The orders are signed by a Lord Montelray, along with a very strong order to continue to keep the catacombs empty of any intruders, we still have work we're doing down here. If you mess up again, you will get to join our volunteers.
Who was the letter signed by?
Lord Monterey. And none of you are immediately familiar with that name.
In the map, is the map does in the catacombs, does any of them lead directly to the Lady Ryland?
There doesn't appear to be a direct route, though there is talk about tunneling. There's a place in the map where one of the entrances into a business relatively near the house of Lady Ryland, and some talk of they might be able to get directly into their rather extensive wine cellar, but apparently have not done so yet.
Okay.
Well, good job, everyone. That's very fine work. Fine work indeed. What do you have, Sir Verity?
She'd hand the orders over. You were down the first gentleman that I punched.
Huh.
And she'd actually start going about and frisking the different guys and just literally pickpocketing anything that took her interest or had value.
There's some money. There are weapons. Some nice gems that look like maybe they got pickpocketed or extorted from some of the businesses that they're working on. Looks like these guys are pulling in some profits and just kind of not fencing them, just sort of distributing them to the guys. Nikaletta, as you see the orders, there's a very specific type of person who wants to make sure that no one ever comes into catacombs or talks about bringing other people and making them volunteers. It's the sort of thing you've run into in Eisen repeatedly.
Yeah. Well, this is wonderful to see. That's of my kin. Taking notes.
Why do I always get worried when she scribbles?
Because she's usually probably writing something that will be our inevitable death. I've learned just to accept the doom and gloom.
You haven't died yet.
She used like the reflection on the back of one of her necklaces to be like, ugh.
So I look over the map. Does there seem to be a center hub?
There does. A central. There seems to be a rather large chamber. The map is pretty sketchy on the details. You're not quite sure what this central area might serve, but with this map, you're pretty sure you could get there, probably without getting lost. You feel like you know where you are and how you would get where you're going. It is not marked, though, because it is not the path to any of the businesses that were being mentioned.
Well, the plan was to stop them.
Demetrius, I'm not entirely certain how wise that would be without a little more oomph backup. Not that Alastriona, not that you aren't wonderfully strong, and Demetrius, not that you aren't wonderfully capable, but if they have, depending on how many volunteers they have, how familiar are all of you with Hexenwerk?
All of you are familiar with Hexenwerk. They are basically the boogeymen of Thea these days. Everyone's always a little afraid of sorcerers. Hexes are the worst of them, according to most people.
You're right, Nikaletta. How about we get you back? But, because you're right, it is dangerous. But I do not have an army or anyone who will come for us or
Just
help.
I know, but I still don't think that it is wise for the four of us to go down to wherever this place is and take on an unknown number of people. You see what I mean? We could bring this information to the guards.
Verity would probably finally notice a little bit of different because all the corpses have been mildly disturbed with her doing the thing to all of them, and she's like, "What is all of this? What are you?"
That oil is it's a sort of protection charm. It prevents things from coming back.
She'd point to any of the dead guys that they just defeated. Do you need to do it to them too?
You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. She pulls out the oil and starts going over any of the dead bodies.
Nikaletta, as you walk over and you pull out the oil and you start moving towards one of the bodies, all of you would notice at the same time as the bodies start twitching. Now, the folks who are just unconscious, the folks who, took a punch and went down, they are still as unconscious as ever. It's the dead bodies. The ones that were shot, the ones that were stabbed, the ones that were filleted by several swords in a particularly spectacular, spinny manner. Those are the ones that start to get up. And one head that was broken by a particularly big punch, the body kind of pushes itself up on the leg and suddenly snaps back into place, looks at all of you, and a moan of
Shrek
fills the tunnels. And that is where we are going to call an end to this particular episode. Thank you so much to Basics of the Game for hosting us. Thank you to Katie for being our producer and running all this stuff. And with that as the conclusion, we will see you next time.
Be safe, don't die.